This Bellows Falls Union High School sports broadcast is brought to you by Falls Area Community Television, serving Southern Vermont and Keene, New Hampshire. We would also like to thank the community members who donated, making this broadcast possible. If you would like to have continued coverage of high school sports and other local events in your town, then go to fact8.com and click the donation button. This broadcast will begin shortly. The Bellows Falls Union High School Booster Club needs your support. Check out their Facebook page to get updates.
Bellows Falls, ever glorious. Bellows Falls, to you we sing.
In high school for tonight's Vermont Division III battle. Today's matchup, presented to you by Falls Area Community Television, will feature the Bellows Falls Terriers and the Windsor Yellow Jackets. I'm Joe Brooks, joined in the booth tonight by Nate Haskell. Bellows Falls comes off a 2024 season that saw them go 7-3 overall. Oh, hold on, we're national anthem.
Yeah.
Oh, they can't hear the national anthem.
Oh, they can't hear it.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to be talking.
All right. We'll just wait for it. All right, and following up that national anthem, as I was saying, Bellows Falls finished 7-3 last year, lost in the semifinals to eventual state champion Fairhaven, while the Windsor Yellow Jackets last year went 1-7 in Division III and lost in the first round of the Division III playoffs. And now I'm going to turn it over to my co-host Nate Haskell to talk a little bit about the game.
Yeah, Joe, thanks. Hey, looking forward to tonight's action. Finally back to some high school football here. Bellows Falls field looks amazing.
Absolutely.
Facilities look amazing. Nice some upgrades this year up here for Bellows Falls. Yeah, you know, we were just talking before we came on about leadership and the quality of football that Bellows Falls will present today. You know, the captains, Lisai, who's been in the program and the name's been around for a lot of years over here. You know, the offensive line, the running backs, the Bells Falls has a very good opportunity to do something pretty special this year. Yep, and I did have a chance to talk to Coach Richardson from Windsor the other day. Great job, great guy, great staff. They'll be heavy on the offensive line as far as seniors go and leadership there. He has some young players in the backfield. He does like his quarterback, and thinks that hopefully they can ground it out, pound it a little bit tonight against the Terriers.
Try to slow it down a little bit. Kickoff by Stephen Joslin of the Terriers. Return by the Yellow Jackets out to about the 29-yard line as we get underway here. Windsor won the opening toss, deferred to the second half, so they'll come out here with the ball.
Turtle Peschke is going to be your quarterback today for Windsor.
Turtle Peschke.
Yep.
All right. What class is he in?
The junior.
Junior, okay. Yep. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Those?
All right, so 1st and 10 for the Yellow Jackets here from about the 31-yard line. Hand off to number 33 of the Yellow Jackets, which is number Colin Labrie on the carry there. Gang tackle by the Terriers.
Yeah, Terriers with it. We talked about it in the pregame. The size up front, and that the amount of games that Joslin and some of these guys have played up front. Jake Tostrup's also a senior who's been outstanding in other sports as well, and he'll be a big contributor to the team this year.
Yellow Jackets line up second, about 14. Sweep it out here to the left. We got a flag on the play. Big tackle in the backfield again. Ball's loose. I think it was blown down on contact there. I didn't capture the number on the Terriers, but there were a bunch of Terriers all over the ball there. I didn't see who made the initial contact, but the entire left side over here of this defensive line from the Terriers was in the backfield immediately.
Yeah, it looked like Stephen James maybe on the initial hit there, but
let's see what the penalty is here. I'm hearing false start, but we're going to decline the penalty for the result of the play there. Oh no, can't decline that. So he's going to push it back to second about 19, second about 20 or so.
Yeah, still, the refs do get some work in, but a little delayed on the false start whistle there for the Zebras today.
A lot of penetration comes from that interior line here of the Terriers.
Yeah,
64 Joslin. It's at 65 next to him. That's Brooks and Lovell. So Lovell and Joslin also big on the offensive line.
Yeah, Connor Perry will be your other end on the other side, and these guys are just football players.
Yeah. Handoff goes right up the middle. Number 33, Labrie. A gang tackle there by the Terriers. They swarm the ball. He picks up maybe 4 or 5 yards there to get up to about 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15 or so.
Again, the Yellow Jackets going to try to establish some running stuff out of the gate, in which is a little surprising, being that we've known in the last few years that the pass defense for Bells Falls has been a little suspect. I do think this year will be much better for them with veteran guys out there, with Goyette. As a kid who's played a ton of football, and having a chance to get out there and make some plays. He's got some speed.
And Bazin was first team all-conference as a defensive back last year, so as a sophomore this year, he should take another step forward. So on 3rd and 15, the Yellow Jackets hand it up to Labrie. He picks up about 7 or 8. I think the Terriers were happy and content to make sure they tackled him in front of the markers there to get to the punting down here. Yellow Jackets should be punting this ball away about 4th and 5, 4th and 6 or so.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets are going to have to keep themselves out of those 2nd and 15, 3rd and 20s if they want to have a chance to compete in this game tonight, because having that down and distance against the Terriers isn't going to be productive.
No, they did move the ball a little bit on the ground there, but that was after they went backwards.
Bazin back to receive the punt.
Yep, Bazin's back there. Oh, big rush by 32. That's Perry, right? Oh no, that's Stephen James with that. Big catch by Bazin. Bazin breaks away from one tackle. He's up the right side. We see a flag back here. Bazin all the way down to about the 32-yard line, but there's a flag back here, Nate, at about the 42 on the Terrier side of the ball.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to have a block in the back, which will come back from the spot of the foul. Be 1st and 10 from about the 30-yard line for the Terriers.
Heck of a play there by Bazin. Made a couple of guys miss. So we'll see what this call is here before the Terriers take over possession for the first time today. Starting lineup coming out here for the Terriers. Declan Leasai will be quarterback. Pat Connors, Jaden Bazin, and Stephen James will be in the backfield with Brockton Lovell, Ben Rumrell, Stephen Joslin, Cam Perry, and Rylan Ernst starting on the offensive line.
Yeah, we talked about this in the pregame, Joe. You know, the beef up front for the Terriers. You know, to be a high school line that averages about 265 is pretty impressive. And these guys are football players. You know, it's one of those. You know, they're not just athletes playing football. These guys are football players.
And these kids are strong. It's a strong 260. It's not just 260 to be 260. These kids are built and they've got energy. I watched their preseason. They have nonstop motors, which is unbelievable for that size to just never want to stop. So here we go. Leasai underneath center here. 1st and 10 on about the 31-yard line. Handoff goes to Bazin up the right side. Bazin takes it up the right side nicely. Breaks free.
He's gone.
Bazin's gone. He's up the right side. He's going to get chased down. Nope, all the way. That's going to be a 68-yard touchdown run in the first play from scrimmage for Jaden Bazin. Oh, no. He pointed out a flag, Nate. Another flag on the play.
This was way after the Bazin was already in the end zone, so my guess is this is a dead ball foul.
All right, so we're gonna have an unsportsmanlike conduct on, I guess, the celebration after the long touchdown.
I think it was before that. Maybe we got a taunting would be my guess, somewhere back in the middle of the field.
Somewhere in the middle of the field. Okay.
Based on the fact that he was already in the end zone, this will be assessed on the kickoff.
Yeah.
But you know, right off the bat, you know, you can see the power of the line, and you know,
the excitement Jaden Bazin can bring. Holy cow!
He's one of those guys that's kind of got it all. He's got the speed, he's got the power, the IQ. Like we said, you know, you talk about football players. He's got it all.
I mean, we saw it on the punt return that was called back just before that. Made a guy miss, took it up the right side. He goes right up the middle there.
Yeah, Bazin's ran for 100 yards already in 2 plays.
Right.
I mean, the kid is. True. You know, and
I know they're expecting big things out of him his sophomore year.
Relentless motor. That kid can get after it. But again, we saw the blocking up front. You're just blowing guys 5, 7, 8 yards back, and you know you don't even get touched until you're 12 yards down the field. That'll make for a long day for the Yellow Jackets.
Point after conversion number 3, lined up in the backfield there.
Bazin.
Oh, that was Jaden Bazin on the direct snap, taking it in for the 2-point conversion. 8-0 Terriers with 9 minutes here to go in the first quarter. Well, Nate, that was an exciting moment for the Terriers right there for sure.
Yeah, Coach Lockerby's not going to be happy with the penalties.
No.
You know, he's a coach. I know he's been, you know, he was my freshman coach many moons ago, and you know he doesn't deal a lot with the disciplinary stuff that he frowns upon it big time, and you know somebody's going to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that will cost him here on the kickoff. And he does, you know, you want to be nice and clean. You want to play the game the right way. I know he preaches that in his practices and to his team, and that's the way it's brought up when you play for guys like you in the Pee Wee football program.
Yeah, yeah.
All the way from the beginning, when you start playing Bellows Falls football at any level, that's preached to play it the right way.
That's right. You're absolutely right, and that's the way it's taught here from, you know, 6 and 7-year-old flag right up until you put some pads on, and you know that won't go over well. Somebody will get some extra work in on Monday, I think, probably.
Exactly. couple extra hills up from the practice field down there.
Yeah, that hill's not pleasant either. I ran that thing a couple of times back in the day.
They let me walk the other way with the coach's way when I went down to film practice. I was pretty grateful of that when I saw the path. I was like, I don't know if I could have done that with a camera on my shoulder. So Joslin will kick off for the Terriers from about the 25-yard line here.
After the penalty, this is one of those things we just talked about, you know, the down and distance, like unless, you know, Windsor can get a decent return out of this, you're talking about having the ball close to the 50-yard line, right?
Which something for them, with what they want to do with establishing the run,
if
they can start closer to that 50, it's going to benefit them quite a bit.
Yeah.
As long as they can stay clean, too. They had a couple mistakes in the first half. Joslin boots the ball. It's going to be picked up by the up man at about the 40-yard line or so. It goes backwards. A gang tackle led by number 30 of the Terriers.
Connor Perry with a great tackle there on the special team. So they got about a 10-yard return there. Looks like they'll go to about the 40-yard line, right about there? Yeah, about the 40-yard line for the ball here. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Coach Richardson comes out and tries to do a little something different here with this second possession. You know, Yellow Jackets
maybe a little change of direction.
Yellow Jackets playing a little timid out there to begin with, which again, you don't blame them. You know, you can't come to a facility like this and expect that, you know, it's going to be easy. but they got to get something going offensively here.
And I'm sure the kids are well aware that Bells Falls has come down a division. That's going to be a key miss. It's actually a misplay and ends up being a keeper for number 6, the quarterback. I forgot.
Turtle Peschke.
Tyler Peschke there. Looked like a broken play. Looked like he was trying to hand it off to the running back with Gree, but the penetration from Jocelyn and Cam Perry Connor Perry was just too much on that right side, and he couldn't get the ball off. Haven't been able to really say much about the linebackers yet because this interior line has just been in the backfield.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing for some of these linemen too, like we talked about, Jocelyn now gets a chance to get a blow because you could put Rylan in and Cam Perry and these other kids that are just the same size guys that can just go in there and be a menace.
Another broken play, and that ball is loose on the ground. That was caused by number 30.
Connor Perry just a menace today.
Absolutely just blew right through everybody there. They couldn't even get the handoff off. The fumble was because he was trying to hand it off as he got tackled. So that's just, there's just nothing there. This is an unbelievably strong and athletic interior line. You don't quite realize how athletic they are until you see them out there.
Right, and again, that's what you come back to that whole, having real football players, and there's so many good athletes and so many good kids in these schools, and it's nice that they play multiple sports, but to have genuine football players is something that's just the thing that Bells Falls has had for so long. We talked about it before. You compete in D2 every year for the state championship. Now you move down. It's
right. And they've won what over their history? 4 or 5 state championships in Bells Falls history? I know they won one when we were in school in the 90s with, I want to say, Johnny Ostrowski and Josh Albee.
That was the year, that would have been my year, 95, Good group of guys. And
that's the last.
Another penalty on Windsor here with a false start, so you're going to have another 3rd and 20.
Going backwards again. So you're right, though. Coach Richardson's going to have to come up with something a little different because right now the penetration's too much. Maybe a change of direction or something if they can just get it off, maybe try to catch over pursuit from Bells Falls.
Well, and you mentioned it already too. Connor Perry almost stole the handoff on the 2 plays ago, and if that's the kind of penetration you're going to get, it's just going to make for a long day.
A long day, absolutely. You're going to have to hit some quick slant passes or screen passes or something, or maybe just run a reverse to try to change the view a little bit instead of just going straight up the chute here.
Gonna have timeout. Coach Richardson and the Windsor group.
Going to try to reset on this 3rd and 20 here as they try to not give the ball back to the Terriers. The Terriers' defense has been absolutely smothering. The Windsor Yellow Jackets have gone nothing but backwards at this point.
Yeah, no, and this is, a little bit of, I think what you're going to end up seeing, constantly over even, not just tonight, but several games over the course of the season that, the punishing fact of the size of the Terriers will just get to people. And, this is, again, we're not even halfway through the first quarter yet, and Windsor's negative yardage, it's just not. They can't withstand this, and again, down in distance, you're going to have to force another punt here, and Bazin almost took the last one to the house last time, so even if they don't, your field position change is going to be Bells Falls, already looking to go in again.
Right, and you mentioned it before with the ability Bells Falls has with the 3-man front to be able to rotate in 2 or 3 other guys that don't miss a beat. I mean, it's just going to be energy all night coming into that backfield. Well, here they go trying to run a little. It looks like another broken play. It looked like he tried to get the ball off, and he's going to be brought down. Maybe a yard gain on that. Maybe it was supposed to be a design sweep for the quarterback there, but it looked like he was trying to hand that ball off tackle.
Joe, I think you're right with the design play because I think they wanted the fullback and the tailback out there for extra blockers to try to get the corner. But when you're getting that much pressure from the D line up front, it's not going to matter. You're not going to get out there. You just can't stretch it out. Plus, with Bazin and Connor Perry and Tostrup out there, you're just not going to get outside.
Looks like we got Saul James back deep to receive this punt for the Terriers. Little fair catch for Saul. Saul catches the fair catch at about the 37-yard line. So the Terriers will start offensively 1st and 10 at the 37 on their own 37. One offensive play led to a touchdown last time, Nate. We'll see what they can do this time. I know they want to run the ball. It's been Bells Falls' history. I mean, they run 3 backs. They run up the middle. They're a power team.
Yeah, and this is one of those years for this group with, again, Declan Leasi's played football for many years in this town and is a leader and a captain on this team. I got a feeling he's not going to have to throw it many times this season for these guys to get wins.
Yep.
They'll mix it in for sure, but when you're lining up in the backfield now as they are with James and
Basin
Connor's already back there.
It's tough. The 1st and 10 here. Leaside takes a snap right up the middle to
Pat Connors.
Connors breaks it free for, that's about a 20-yard run for Connors as he's pushed out at about the 42-yard line. Now, Connors goes to Vermont Academy, right?
Yep.
And he's allowed, but they don't have football, so he's allowed to play down here.
Yeah, Pat.
He's quite a baseball player, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Pat's a great kid. We talked about him a little bit in the pregame too, and he was a captain in my basketball program a couple of years ago, and the leadership is unbelievable from that kid. He's one of those guys that he kind of has it all between the ears, and he's a good athlete.
Yeah, he was off like a little cannon right there for sure. 1st and 10 for the Terriers from about the 43-yard line. That's going to go up the middle to Stephen James, I believe, who picks up about 9 yards to give a second and yard to go. Was that James? Yeah, that was James right there. First carry for the fullback.
The Terriers letting everybody touch the ball early here.
Leaside and James are seniors this year. I believe getting their first full-time starting. I think they both moved into those roles from guys who graduated last year.
Yep, same with Tostrup. Filling in for Will Halleck, who was a tight end last year, and like I said, Jake's just been an unbelievable leader in all assets, in all things he does for this program as well.
Yeah, nice little tight end at the end there. Leaside lining up, 2nd and 1 here for the Terriers. 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Leaside takes the snap. That's up to Connors. Connors takes it, breaks a tackle, looking for the corner, and he's going to get in for 6 from about 42 yards out. Push the lead to 14-0 for the Terriers. Boy, he exploded through that hole.
Yeah, I know. That's what we were just talking about. Never mind, his leadership skills between the years, but his athletic prowess is he has it all. He works really hard too. But again, 3 plays.
Dominant
basically
offensive line, just pushing forward.
Basically untouched on an off tackle. And
yeah, it's other than the one run right up the middle by James, they're at a first down before the contact.
Yeah, that's. But not that this wasn't a little unexpected.
Try the extra point for the Terriers. Looks like that's up and good. Actually, it's well good, right down the chute. 15-0 for the Terriers.
Play by Perry.
So, Nate, I know you touched on this last time the Yellow Jackets had the ball, but they're going to have to do something different to make anything of a game out of this.
I don't know what Coach Richardson has up his sleeve. Again, I did have a chance to chat with him. Great guy. He knew it was going to be tough sledding here tonight. As far as the offense goes, but to try to, if he has any shotgun up his sleeve, if he has an opportunity to try to do anything a little bit different, I think he's got to try to pull out all the tricks out here, because if BF gets the ball back again, you're talking about 22 nothing in the first quarter. So again,
they got to do something quicker.
Well, again, penalties, the couple of false starts haven't helped any.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the corner, you can't get the middle. What can you get? And I think that's what the staff over there is probably trying to figure out is, what can we do to try to get some positive yardage here?
Because not only that, they got to slow down the fact that Bellows Falls' offense has run 4 plays and scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and just missed a punt return to the house by Bazin earlier. So
So they really need to maintain some ball control here. Get a first down maybe for the first time of the game.
Some positive yardage. You've gone backwards. You've ran 7 plays and they've all gone backwards.
Oh, here's a nice little return from about the 10-yard line out to the 32 by number 10 of the Yellow Jackets. Number 10 is Aiden Dexter, Yellow Jackets, so about a 20-yard return gives the Yellow Jackets, I want to say, about their best starting field position of the night here, about the 32, 33-yard line.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you want to say this is a big possession because there's 4:40 to go in the first quarter, but it is.
It absolutely is.
Right, and it's going to be, and not necessarily, I'm not saying you need a touchdown. What you need is a first down. What you need is a 3rd and 2, not a 3rd and 22.
Right.
Because if you continue to go backwards like that, again,
positive steps forward.
You're punting it and you're not even getting it out of your own territory. Right. So it's got to be frustrating for the staff over there.
And the Terriers were almost caught on the line count there, so they are ready to jump. Another just gang tackle there for the Terriers, led by Perry on the right side and Jocelyn. They're just all over everybody over there.
Well, and like you said too, the ability for Coach Locker to be able to sub these linemen and linebackers in and out and keep guys fresh isn't a thing that high school teams can do either. And when you're replacing a player with a player and a player with a player, it can really wear you down, especially the smaller offensive line for the Yellow Jackets.
So lining up on a 2nd and 12 here for the Yellow Jackets, looking to make some positive momentum. They keep going backwards here. Hand off to number 11, goes around the outside. He's going to be tackled by, I want to say number 33 of the Terriers, which is Briar Barnett. Pushed him out of bounds there on the right side. Number 11 of the Yellow Jackets, Jack Burke, brings up a 3rd and 12 for the Yellow Jackets. So it's not 3rd and 20 this time, but still a long ways to go. And the way they've been moving the ball, it's got to look like forever for them right now.
Oh, absolutely. Again, your down and distance is just going to continue to be a problem, and to punt it to the Terriers and have it already basically in your side of the field is just.
Well, it looked like another quarterback sweep there for the Yellow Jackets. Gains another 2-3 yards. They're going to be punting again from their own side of the field here. Looks like the Terriers have gone to a little bit of a substitution package here. I see Saul James, a couple other younger guys that didn't start out there. So it looks like they're rotating some guys in, keep guys fresh. Saul will be back to return the punt here.
Yeah, Saul James back to return the punt. Another, great young athlete for Bellows Falls, backup quarterback to Declan Lisai, and 3-sport athlete at the school, and again, just a good kid who just works hard and might have a chance to return a punt here for the Terriers in his first ever varsity football game.
That's true. Sophomore, low snap received by the Yellow Jackets. Stephen James almost got in there and blocked it. It's going to go over Saul James's head and get down at about the 20-yard line by the Yellow Jackets.
That's a great punt for the Yellow Jackets right there for the
first time. Like
first time today. Kind of swung the field position a little bit. Now, if you can make a tackle or two and maybe extend this a little bit, they're going to have to. They got to get in the backfield.
Yeah. They got to do something here because they're definitely not stopping the Terriers at the line of scrimmage. So something has to change there, whether they have to bring some guys from the backfield back and everyone press. I mean, they're running a 4-man front there. Maybe you just got to bring everybody up because you're not getting any penetration on that offensive line whatsoever. The Terriers are 8-9 yards down the field before they're making contact. Lisai under center for the Terriers. 1st and 10 from about the 20-yard line. Hands it off to Stephen James. James picks up about 3 or 4 yards there on 1st down. Nice tackle by number 33 of the Yellow Jackets. Number 33 is Colin LeBear. He's also been their halfback, had a few carries here in the first half. Nice tackle there. Nice solo tackle, wrap up.
So it looks like Briar Barnett's taking Basin's spot, who seems to be on the sideline for the Terriers right now down by Coach Studley. Hasn't been in the last 2 series. Hopefully it's nothing serious for him. I think maybe precautionary.
Yeah, I mean, his helmet's on the ground, so not 100% sure there. He hasn't returned the last couple punts either. It's going to be a handoff to Connors. Connors drops. Oh, no, that's not the ball. That's the helmet. I thought that was a fumble for a minute. Great saving tackle there. I missed the number of the tackle, but I'm going to think it's number 5 because the helmet came off.
Yep.
So number 5 of the Yellow Jackets made a great tackle there. Actually, probably saved a touchdown because Connors was about to take off there if he didn't get stopped there. Got him by the shoelace on that 2nd down carry, bringing up 1st and 10.
Yeah, another just great burst by Connors through the hole, and that off tackle action is just going to be tough for the Yellow Jackets to continue to stop.
Yeah, 100%. Lisai back under center here for the Terriers. Basin still over here on the sidelines. So it's 1st down and 10 for the Terriers. About 1:20 to go in the game. Lisai. It's a handoff to
Barnett. Yeah.
To Barnett.
Yep.
His first carry of the game, picks up about 5. Well, the explosive plays have slowed down a little bit, but they're continuing just to move it forward, like slow and steady, and eventually they're going to be able to break. They keep this up. That line's going to eventually push it through.
Yep. Briar Barnett, and also another kid who played in the Connecticut Valley Pee Wee League. for the Packers. Again, great football IQ. Kid works really hard, junior. So another younger player for the Terriers to have out there at their disposal to play both ways.
Yeah, gotta believe most of these kids have all come up through the Pee Wee League. Second down and 5 here for the Terriers. Hand off to Connors. Connors off tackle again. And it looks like he's taking this one to the corner. Yellow Jackets push him out of bounds at, about the 15-yard line or so. So Connors takes off for about another 35, 40-yard run down the left side. Boy, when he gets through that left tackle untouched, it's anybody's game how far he's going.
Yeah, when you kind of have both, he's got that, the power to run the middle and, the speed to get it to the outside, and I mean, looks like we're going to be about the end of the first quarter here, but, Connors probably approaching about 100 yards rushing.
Easily on 4 or 5 carries.
Yeah, so pretty impressive, and, with Basin's one run, I mean, you're talking the Terriers are, close to 200 yards rushing in the first quarter. Yeah. That's pretty
easily, because Basin had 68 on his one carry, and then Stephen James has had another 10, 15 yards.
Barnett with a couple of carries.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're absolutely right. They rushed for about 200 yards in that first quarter.
That's pretty impressive for high school football to have 3 or 4 guys you can give the ball to, and you're rushing for 200 yards a quarter.
Outside of the one unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, not a whole lot of negative you can really throw out at the performance from Bellows Falls so far.
Right.
Everything else has been pretty smart. They've pushed forward on every play. They've been all positive plays outside of that one penalty that affected them on the kickoff there.
Yeah, defense has been really tough. There's no the pressure up front. You don't need to blitz. When you don't need to send extra people, it's just so beneficial for your defense. And again, to keep them fresh with, Rylan and Steve and Cam, these guys just being able to rotate in and out at the defensive line position.
So as we got a little minute here, I just want to read a little bit about have a little varsity cross country news here. The varsity cross country hosted their first meet of the season. The team was led on the boys' side by Jacob Kissel, who finished 24th with a time of 23 minutes and 10 seconds. Lewis Sunflower and Calvin Sargent finished 35th and 36 at 28:31 and 28:51 respectively. Gabe Winther also participated in his first ever race for BF. The next meet for most of the teams who participated in the meet at Bellows Falls will be at Thetford this upcoming Tuesday. The boys' race will begin at 4:45. This will be followed by the girls' race at 5:15. Friday, September 12th, the team will host the Eno Invitational. All right, now we get back to the action here to start the second quarter. 12 minutes on the clock, 15-0 Terriers lead. Bellows Falls takes it first and 10 at, about the, 15-yard line or so down there? Leasai under center for the Terriers. Near side here. It's going to be a keeper for Leasai. He's coming around the right side here. We had a penalty in the backfield. Only a couple yards on the run there, but it looks like they're signaling a hold on the Terriers.
That's right in the area.
So we just talked about no negative plays there in the first quarter. And as soon as we come out here in the second quarter, it's what do they do in the NBA? That's a jinx on a free throw. I guess they jinxed them right there.
Yeah, it's first time you've run the boot action in the game, and guys get a little overzealous on the end. And
now that's been a staple of Bellows Falls football since you and I were in school. I can remember Josh Albee running that against Fall Mountain back in the day. So.
It's always been a thing. Like I said, from Coach Lockerbie to Coach Bisbee, it's been just an unbelievable run for this program in this town. But again, your feeder programs are what get you to where you're at. When I talked to Coach Richardson, he said, in the last few years where they don't have that, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, and then you get some junior high, which has been, flag more or less,
It's tough to come into high school only having played at the middle school level and be able to catch on when other programs have. So on the second down, or first down play, first down at 20, Connors is tackled out here on the right side. So the Yellow Jackets putting up a little force here on this defensive side as they make a little stop there, 2nd and 20.
Turtle Peschke is doing a nice job for Windsor out there. Hasn't been a lot of pluses for them in this first quarter, but being under center and taking the hits he's taken in the backfield and to come up and make a nice tackle right there on Connors, it was a nice play.
He's a competitor, that kid, for sure. Because he's getting a lot of the contact out there in the defensive backfield, because that's where these guys are getting to. Here comes Declan Leasai under center. Second down 19 for the Terriers. That's going to be, that's Broxton there, number 33 for the Terriers, picking up, 4 or 5 yards. Should bring us up to about 3rd and 15 or so.
Barnett's doing a nice job filling in for Bazin here this little bit to start the game.
Definitely a different styled running back for sure.
Right, and this is, when you look at this down and distance for the Terriers, and most of the time you think 3rd and 8, you protect the pass, and this is a time where the Terriers just say, we're just still going to run it down your throat.
Yeah.
I'd be wouldn't be surprised if it's a pass, but they can just run the ball right here if they want to.
And I mean, historically, this has been a place they've even just
it's 4-down territory.
Run it right up the middle with the fullback over the years.
Yeah.
It's what they've always done. And here they go. There goes Stephen James right up the middle. He's going to be close to 1st down yardage.
Going to be about a half yard short, but again,
absolute
4th and
4-down territory.
Yeah.
You've got those big guys up front there. And this is what you've got them there for. This is what they train for. I've listened to Lockerbie in practice, and this is what he trains these guys for. These moments where they got to push forward. And, I mean, this is what they're built for.
Yeah, and again, this is that down and distance we just talked about, Joe. 3rd and 8. It's like, okay, maybe you spread your linebackers out, your middle backers are out a little bit. Maybe you look, to try to run a weak side blitz somewhere, but. Like you said, you called it, this is where they go to the fullback, and James runs it for 8 yards right up the middle. You're half a yard short for a 1st down, Wouldn't be surprised. Now it looks like they got a big back in the backfield again, James, and,
A little wing back out here to the right side. It's a little different formation. Little motion for the first time. The motion was probably really just to draw them, their attention away from the quarterback sneak. Declan Leaside goes in from about 4 yards out for the score.
Yeah, again, so I mean, you're talking a quarterback sneak, and you could run that in the middle of the field on 3rd and 5 and probably get 10 yards behind this offensive line.
Yeah, he went in with no resistance there. These guys just pushed him forward. Another great drive by the Terriers. They stalled a little bit out here. Windsor put up a little bit of a fight at the outside the 20, but once they got inside that 20, it was kind of all Bells Falls. Try for the point after.
Cam Perry, nice leg on him. I was watching him a little bit in pregame. Hey, got it in again? No,
that
just
one
short.
Looks like it was just short, or maybe off to the right a little bit. First one was good by a good 5-10 yards. Almost,
he was kicking
into that discus circle or whatever.
Great leg, and pregame watching him, kick some warm up extra points and field goals down there, and coming across the field before we started today and having an opportunity to run into some of these guys that. With my son going to this school and coaching these guys for so many years that I have, like such a good group of kids.
Yeah. Yeah, 21-0 here in the Terriers. 8:55 to go in the 2nd quarter. Yeah, Nate, you talked about it. You've coached most of these kids growing up, so I mean, you know just how good the program is that feeds up here, and how important it is to the program at Bells Falls itself.
And you mentioned it too, Joe. The respect factor. These kids are taught from when you're 6 and 7 years old playing flag football that. You play the game, you play it hard, but you can still do it in a way that's respectful, and the feeder program is so essential. You talked a little bit about the field hockey program, and it's just these things that this town does for having a high school that has less than 300 kids, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, they're competitive in so many sports. They're championship contenders in so many sports. It's just really just has to speak to how hard things work and how much they want it from the beginning.
Yeah, and the coaching staff too. Ryan, Coach Dooley, Ryan and Bob have been
Big hit, big block there. And I mean, I got to umpire a couple games last summer with Bisbee, and I didn't know it at the time, but Bells Falls has only had 2 head coaches in their football program throughout the history. It's one of like 5 schools or something like that.
It's crazy, right?
So
and Jerry, Jerry Kukuru, who was a math teacher here, coached my dad, and then Coach Bisbee came in and took over after him, and Coach Lockerbie was here in 1991, a couple of years ago, when I was a freshman, and he was my coach, and he took over for Coach Bisbee after, and again, just to continue to build this year after year after year is just it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun to watch the practice and just see the dedication. And honestly, for me, what was amazing to me is just watching how the coaches had to do very little as far as getting the kids to do the right thing and be in the right places. That's going to be a big sack in the backfield by number 30 of the Terriers. I think that's
Connor Perry
again.
Connor
Perry again, just blowing everything up back there.
I mean, we don't have a tally sheet up here, Joe, but I'm willing to bet that Connor Perry probably has close to 10 tackles in this game already.
And at least 3 or 4 of them are behind the line of scrimmage.
The kid is.
He's fat. He's been so much faster. They can't get off the line quick enough for him.
He was really fun to watch a few years ago in the Purple Dogs program. You know, and he's just, again, it's just a football player. The kid is tough, and IQ is so good.
And here we go for a 2nd and 17. Another long down and distance for the Yellow Jackets. Trying to run a little reverse there. They got 4 or 5 yards on the 2nd down play. Windsor's still trying to move the ball forward. They're still playing hard out there. It's got to be tough to keep competing when, this is a tough way to play football. You're getting physically beat up. Bells Falls is playing a physical game, and it makes it even harder when you're down 3 scores. Yeah,
and like I said, talking to Coach Richardson, and he knew it was going to be tough sledding coming in here. He wants to get out of here healthy, but learn some stuff. This is where you learn that. Who's going to be tough enough? Who can make the plays?
Competing.
Who's going to keep fighting hard?
Yep.
And
That's
it seems like these guys are still trying to work hard out there.
Oh, they're going to get an offsides on 55 of the Terriers there. They got him on the jump. That looks like that's Garrett Haskell jumping offsides for the Terriers. Terriers rotating a few new guys in here as they got a 21-0 lead.
Yeah, you can keeping guys fresh, and it's always beneficial to any team that especially when you get into these more competitive games to where it's 21-0 in the 3rd or 4th quarter, and guys are still fairly fresh, and
right.
Just like with basketball, like if you can keep your studs fresh for the end, you're always going to give yourself a chance to win a ball game.
As a coach, you're always looking for chances to get your young kids exposure, but in the place where they can make plays and feel good.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Coach Lockerbie is looking to do here in this first game, is find places for these young kids to be successful and know that they're helping the team to help build their confidence as they move forward for those big games that they have coming up with the Fairhavens and the Woodstocks and everything like that. It's definitely a key, and more than I do the importance of that.
Yeah, yep. And that's set a false start by Windsor to give those 5 yards back, which is unfortunate, but
I think Windsor at this point still may not have positive yards in the game. Certainly
Joe,
include the penalty yards.
Joe, I agree 100% with you. It's
looking to throw the ball, they get it out. Well, he had an open receiver there, but he was getting tackled by
I guess it's
33. The Terriers was chasing him down.
Briar Barnett's doing a nice job filling in for Bazin.
Absolutely. Gave good chase there, got his hands on him, forced if the Windsor quarterback been able to set his feet, he might have been able to hit the fullback at about the 40-yard line here, 35, 40-yard line. But
Windsor going to punt for the 4th time here in the first half, and last time got a great bounce, and seems like James has given him a couple more yards back there to maybe field this one in the air and give himself a chance to get himself some first varsity yardage.
For his 3rd return chance of the night, he's going to call fire on that. Another forward bounce for the Yellow Jackets. It's another good punt. Little physicality after the game there. Number 8 of the Terriers. Looked like that's Andrew
Goyette, yeah. Again, another
involved in something there.
These games can get a little chippy sometimes with being frustrated, but again, that's one of those things that Coach Lockerbie will, and I would imagine Coach Richardson's the same way. There's zero tolerance for those types of things, and again,
chippiness.
Those are some of the things that make a good football team, right? We're not giving free yardage, we're not giving free plays, we're not giving free anything for being foolish.
And you still want to compete the right way, no matter what the score is, no matter what the circumstances are. You always want to be able to compete the right way. Terriers come out 1st and 10 on 35-yard line.
Joe, the amount of times the Terriers have run the ball and been so productive, I know it's 21-0 and they've been really kind of just pounding it down their throat. A play action probably wouldn't hurt you once to get Leasai's arm loose. Going to get a delay a game.
Let a receiver run a route here, even maybe get Tostrup involved in the passing game as the tight end there.
Goyette's got some speed out there, and there's no safety help over the top. You got 10 guys in the box with one-on-one, and with that way that offensive line is like
set up for one.
Yeah, you could certainly even just on a go route with Goyette over there, he's got some wheels, and you could just really kind of let one fly if you wanted to, or if not, you can get yourself to another, 70 yards rushing here in the first half.
There's a sweep out to number 30, first carry for 30, I think.
That's Connor Perry.
Connor Perry. Yep, he had about a 12-yard run. He's been all over the place tonight. I should know that number by now.
We should, yeah.
I keep having to look at my sheet here. So
He was, back in, Purple Dogs days when I got to watch him play constantly, and he was a do-it-all guy for that team. Fullback, middle linebacker, defensive end. He was one of those guys. And again, he has that IQ. Hey, we need you to play on the line today, sure. Hey, we need you to play tight end, sure. Hey, we need you to take a snap, sure. And he's
just a football player, ready to play football. Lee Sy still in at center for the Terriers. Second down, 1 yard to go here. All right, he's going to drop back and throw it. Oh, it's off to James. James makes the catch there for a yard, 2-3 yards, gets the first down. Well, you called it there. They ran a nice little play action pass.
Yeah, it's a great, you're set up for it. You constantly, and this is one of those things where, as football guys, and love having the fact that, we're up here able to call this game today, and you look out there and just see that, Goyette with the kid that's got speed like that. It just doesn't take much to just let one fly, because Windsor knows they're going to run it. You're 10 in the box. Your safety's way over here. I mean, you got no help. You got no help up there, and now you can just come back to giving it to Pat Connors for 40-yard gain. And
there's going to be days where you're going to need that throw, and you were absolutely right there. Not 40 yards. Looks like he got about 10 to 12 yards.
Yeah, but who do you key on, right? And
exactly.
I see that we got Bazin with his helmet back on over there by Coach Lockerby, getting in his ear to try to get back in the ball game, which would be outstanding.
He did get back in the ball game, because he was.
That's good to see.
He was sitting on the bench here with his helmet off and looked a little dejected. So.
That's good to see. Maybe a little stinger. It is still early in the season for everyone, and you've had a couple of scrimmages, but quick whistles in those scrimmages don't get you a lot of action, like game action, and
you got to be careful with kids these days.
A little stinger, and
so
you're going to need a lot more than a little stinger to keep Bazin on the bench. I promise you that.
He didn't look happy he had to go there in the first place. Lee Sy behind center.
And
immediately go to Bazin.
I mean,
picks up 13, 14 yards. So he's also, we already talked about how Connors was approaching 100 yards there in the first quarter. And with 68 on his first carry, another 12 there, that puts him close to 100. So
yeah, again, we can say it over and over, but for a team to rush for 300 yards and a half of high school football is pretty impressive.
Yeah. They haven't even really, we saw the one throw, but it hasn't been a thing that's been a forced issue where they were forced into a throwing situation or anything like that. They've absolutely dictated the pace of the game.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me with how, again, just the way the offense is now. You come out now and it's, straight eye formation with no split end.
Right.
So
little motion here. Here's Bazin on his own in the backfield.
I run a little off tackle right here action, let Bazin lead block the other way. Yeah, it looks like Lockerby didn't get the formation right.
Something on the formation wasn't right. We'll see some frustration out of Lockerby and Studley here on the Bellows Falls sideline. Really the first or second time.
That's a timeout here by Lockerby and the Terriers. He definitely didn't like something in that formation. But, it's been pretty easy sledding here for the Terriers. Again, no kudos to Windsor. They're fighting. These kids aren't coming out of the game. I don't see a lot of subs coming in and out on that sideline over there, and they're working awful hard. And this is, it's one of those games. Who's going to continue to stand tall and work hard, and you can look at this as a building block from Coach Richardson for the rest of the season for Windsor, as long as everybody stays healthy, because you need those skill guys to still be healthy, in 2 days from now.
Right.
Looks like Terrier's still going to run the same play here.
Yep, trying to run the same formation. Looks like now Coach Richardson wants to talk about the formation. So nobody's really sure what's going on here. So this should be a pretty exciting play when we get to see it, Nate. There's a whole lot of build up to this one. We've had 2 timeouts and some frustration.
That formation, Joe, makes it look like, you get a little reverse to Connors right there with Basin full steam on the corner over there. And kids are probably just going to want to get out of the way because, when he's full steam downhill without the ball in his hand,
right.
He can just punish kids. And it's, and again, Connors gets that corner. We've seen it numerous times already today. You're talking right down to the goal line area again for the Terriers. So.
Yep. Lockerbie is definitely a little animated in the huddle, so he wants to make sure this is run right. So this is something that he's very focused on. So we're still sitting here 1st and 10, just outside of the 20-yard line, about the 22, 23-yard line for the Terriers.
Yeah, 3 minutes ago. 3 minutes ago, first half, Joe. Again, backwards for the Yellow Jackets most of the game. No first downs.
Yeah, not a single one.
They're working hard. They're really getting after it, but, it just goes to show you this Terriers team is just pretty tough.
Yeah. They're coached well. They play well. They know what they're supposed to do. Yep. Well, you were right. They definitely ran those 2 guys right up the right side to block for Basin. Basin, he picks up about 5-6 yards there on the first down. So we're going to have about 2nd and 5 or 6.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Terriers even pick the pace up a little bit here just to get this last touchdown before the half if they can.
Yeah.
Windsor, obviously, again, huge stop for them. We've said it over and over already in this first half. Like, these are just big plays.
This would be huge.
Play after play.
It would be huge just for them.
Got to.
Just for them going into halftime to have a stop. Would just be huge for them. Despite the deficit, something positive to go by. Hand up right up the middle that's Connors. Takes it down to about the 5-yard line. Yeah, about the 5-yard line or so. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Terriers. So they're definitely looking to get into that end zone again here right before the end of the first half. Leasai's got the play in from Lockerbie coming in. All right, we've got.
Wouldn't be surprised to see try to get maybe Basin on the outside here.
A little motion here. Oh, a little confusion, but Leasai's going to end up taking it in. Looked like a busted play, but Leasai held on to it, turned around, and found a little running room.
Yeah, ran right into James. Didn't matter.
Yep.
Again, there's that offensive line for you. Busted play, and you go 6 yards up the middle of barely being touched. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean, it was his own guy.
impressive.
It was his own guy that he ran into there.
Yeah.
That was the resistance. He spun off his own guy, and he was in the end zone. So he was 5 yards down the field before anyone even touched him. So 27-0 Terriers with 1:53 here to go.
Looks like Terriers will go for 2 this time, rather than have Perry try to kick another extra point.
He's 1 out of 2 today, and I think they're 1 out of 2 and going for 2 today. Leasai lines up under center. Got Connors, James, and Basin in the backfield. Handoffs to Basin. Basin goes right up the chute for the 2-point conversion. So 1 touchdown and 2 2-point conversions for Basin here in the first half. 29-0 for the Terriers.
Yeah, 2 minutes to go. Again, weather the storm, and if you get out of this at 20, don't turn the ball over. This is where. What do you do if you're Coach Richardson here? You got 1:53. Both teams got 2 timeouts left. I mean, I don't think you try to do anything fancy here. A turnover. Essentially.
Yeah, you don't want to turn it over, have it become a turnover 6.
Well, a turnover here, and another Bells Falls touchdown would.
Those small victories.
Start to look for some JV players probably in the second half, anyways.
Yeah.
But you can't. You can't do, this is the tricky part as a coach. What do we have? What do we don't have? Right? We don't have a lot going forward to begin with.
And for Bells Falls, they've still got stuff they want to work on. This is the first week of the season. Their preseasons are all shortened now to like 3 or 4 weeks, a little less than they used to be.
Less double sessions, less work, and
so you certainly want to be able to, even the JV kids, you want to get everyone worked, so you're not going to stop competing out here for sure. A line drive kick, dropped by the Yellow Jackets back there. And we're going to have a big tackle. That was number There's this guy here with a 66, I think? 56. 56 of the Terriers with a tackle right there. That's Ben Rumrell. Ben Rumrell with a nice tackle there for the Terriers. Chasing him down. Yellow Jackets will start off 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Nate, they're still looking for that initial first down. They're still looking for positive yardage. These would be a couple small victories to take out of the end of this first half.
Again, just don't try to do too much with something here based on the fact that, you give the ball right back and you're down, 36-0.
Yeah, it won't take long. Little motion for the Yellow Jackets. They're going to run it out wide here. It's going to go nowhere on the little sweep reverse there. Gang tackle by the Terriers, again led by Perry. Boy, he's been everywhere today. The first quarter you thought he might have had about 10 tackles.
Yeah.
I think we've called his name another 5 or 6 times here in the second quarter.
Yeah, he's done a great job for them so far in this first half, and again, he'll continue to be a leader for this team all season long.
Looks like number 5, Jacob Kissel, is going to get some time on the front at the linebacker spot here.
That Kissel pulling double duty, getting some football work in here, and finished the first in the cross country meet the other day. Good for him.
Another tackle out there. That's by number. Oh, he's being blocked from me now.
Got a lot of subs
31 out there. Number 31 of the Terriers comes away with that tackle in the backfield. Trying to see the numbers here.
Getting into halftime here at another home game for the Terriers next weekend.
Yeah, U32 next week?
Yeah, U32 who beat up on Woodstock last night, surprisingly.
Oh yeah, Woodstock was
32-14.
Woodstock was the Division III champion last year.
Yep. So
where's U32 out of, Nate?
They're up in the Brandon area, something up that
Montpelier
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got a 3rd and 10 here with 20 seconds to go. Windsor's just looking to run the clock out. Quarterback keeps it around the right side. He gets tackled. Get picked up about a yard with 10 seconds to go. 4th and 10. I think everyone's going to be content. Just let the clock run out here. Terriers are walking off to the sideline. So all in all, a good first half for the Terriers, Nate. 29-0. Just a lot of running the ball, a lot of power from the Terriers.
Yeah, it's again, this is what we expected. I don't think anybody sees it to be any different. But you're getting a little bit from a lot of guys, and that's what you want, that's what you expect, and now that you're going to get into the second half where I'm sure Coach Lockerbie will come out with the starters and the studs again, and but still be able to go to the JV kids who, again, the program itself, these JV guys will still do some good work in the second half.
Oh, absolutely, and Coach has the same expectations for them as he does his starters. So we're going to touch on, got a little more updates to read here. A rain-soaked thriller as the varsity field hockey edges U32 2-1. In a match defined by grit, drama, and a weather delay, the Bells Falls Terriers emerged over U32, securing a hard-fought 2-1 win. U32 took a 1-0 lead, then the Terriers opened the scoring early in the first quarter when Avery Maxfield delivered a decisive goal, an aggressive and well-placed strike that set the tone for the Bells Falls offensive presence. Later in the same period, Kenna Applegate of U32 celebrated her first varsity goal. Play unfolded when Veronica Moore unleashed a powerful shot toward the net. Applegate reacted quickly, deflecting the ball past the goalkeeper in a technically precise and visually compelling finish. As the third quarter neared its conclusion, a thunderstorm interrupted play with just 5 minutes remaining. The resulting delay lasted over 90 minutes as both teams endured rain and thunder to eventually return to the field. When play finally resumed, the wet conditions, Bells Falls maintained composure and held off a determined U32 attack. The Terriers' early advantage proved enough to withstand the pressure, ultimately sealing the 2-1 victory. The team is 2-0 and will host Brattleboro on Tuesday, September 9th. The varsity at 4 p.m. with the JV at 5:15. The JV team is 1-0 on the season with an 8-0 win against Brattleboro earlier this week.
That's a lot of goals in a field hockey game, Joe.
Absolutely. Now for a little update on the varsity girls soccer. Bells Falls opened their season with a thrilling 3-2 victory against Long Trail on Saturday, August 30th, improving to 2-0 overall. They carried that momentum into their home opener on Friday, September 5th, delivering a dominant 5-1 win over Pulteney. The Terriers ignited early. Within the first 10 minutes, Grace Hayes converted a picture-perfect corner, and Gracie Patterson followed a swift breakaway finish. Patterson struck again mid-first half to put Bellows Falls up 3-0 before Pulteney responded with a goal of their own. Meanwhile, keeper Natalie Douglas stood tall, recording 7 crucial saves to maintain the lead. In the second half, Pulteney increased the pressure, but Douglas remained resolute, and both teams missed their respective penalty kicks, leaving the score stuck at 3-1 for a stretch. Midway through the half, Abby Nystrom broke free for another goal, extending the lead to 4-1. Pulteney's continued efforts were thwarted by a strong defense and Douglas's goalkeeping. And with just 5 minutes remaining, Patterson completed her hat trick with a third goal to seal the convincing 5-1 victory. The all-around performance was impressive, and Bellows Falls now heads into their road match against Proctor at 4:30 p.m. this Monday, September 8th. All right. Now I've got a little message for the community to read here. Throughout this summer, the school has been under construction with the addition of the new driveway, with additional bus parking in the back of the school, as well as improvements to the drainage system. In addition, we've had the refurbishment of our tennis and pickleball court, and the construction of a new state-of-the-art 400mm track. These projects were funded by the community, and we are very appreciative of the efforts that help bring our facilities up to the level of excellence that our coaches and student athletes deserve. I can personally say they look fantastic. The athletic department and school would like to thank the following businesses that worked extremely hard to meet some tight deadlines: Bazin Brothers and Maine Track and Tennis for the track project, Vermont Recreation for the refurbishment of the tennis and pickleball courts, Springfield Paving for the driveway reconstruction. In addition to these projects, Dascom Trust graciously funded the reshaping of the access hill and the new press box here at Hadley Field. The press box was constructed by JMW Contracting, and the reshaping of the hill was done by JMP Trucking. The new press box will assist our Pee Wee football program, Purple Dogs, and our high school football program for announcing, clock operation, and a space for our home and visiting coaches. The press box will also be utilized to assist with the track and field program in the spring. The Director of Athletics, Rob Welts, would like to extend a big thank you to the School Board of Directors at BFUHS for their commitment to our school facilities and providing our community opportunities to be active. Our current board members are Chris Hodson, Chair of Rockingham, Paul Obachowski of Rockingham, Kim Keefe, Rockingham, Ginger Driscoll, Rockingham, Ben Walsh, Rockingham, Mary Howard Hall of Grafton, Jamie Starrow, Westminster, Emily Bragonier of Westminster, June Street of Westminster. We ask that as a community, we help keep our facilities top-notch. A reminder that no dogs are allowed on the tennis, pickleball courts, or track area. Please help us keeping our facilities looking great for years to come so that our community and visiting communities can see and enjoy how much Terrier pride we have. Thank you for your continued support, and go Terriers.
Donation button. This broadcast will begin shortly. The Bellows Falls Union High School Booster Club needs your support. Check out their Facebook page to get updates.
All right, and welcome back to Hadley Field for the second half of today's opening season matchup between the Bellows Falls Terriers and the Windsor Yellow Jackets. Nate, pretty exciting first half if you're a Terriers fan.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, you're running on all cylinders here, right? You know, we've said Connor Perry's name feels like, 30, 40 times already. Bays and Connors, Leasai's doing the dirty work inside the 5-yard line in the red zone. Couple of, tush-push touchdowns for the Terriers down there, and, they've had their way from the kickoff. And, again, I think one of the things as a coach, especially Coach Stu, you look at, you have given up no real positive plays the whole entire game, right? Your defense has been stellar. Guys are the gang tackles. BF has really put it all together, which is what you hope for in the first half of your first game. A couple little mistakes that we talked about, but other than that, but again, Coach Richardson's, kind of knew it was coming, and again, weather the storm. Get out of here with everybody wearing their gear and
as a coach,
and
Nate,
able to walk to the bus.
As a coach, what's your message if you're on that other sideline? You're down 29-0. You've pretty much been bowled through. I mean, it's been a physically overwhelming performance the Bellows Falls has had. What's your message to your kids just to get them to keep competing in the second half?
Hey, one first down, right? One play leads to the next. You can't.
Little short kick off the 21 of the Terriers.
There's no 29-point touchdowns, Joe. It's the next play. What can you give me on the next play? Who's going to work hard for the next play?
That was Carter Harper on the return for the Terriers.
Who's going to make the next tackle? Who's going to get us that first down and build some momentum somehow?
So you're just really pushing the little victories.
This is where being a coach is hard, but your positive energy's got to be something that you give to the kids, because if you don't and they read your body language, it becomes a bigger problem.
Right, because you want your kids to keep competing the right way, even though the odds are kind of stacked against you at this point.
Yep, you take the wins. Every win, everything that is good is good.
Leasai with a little option out here to Jaden Bazin. Bazin takes the pitch to the right side. He takes off, gains about 20 yards down to the 30-yard line on the first play of scrimmage. So I would certainly say that puts Bazin right over about 100 yards now. So we're well over 300 yards at this point, I would say, for this Terriers offense. Basically on the ground.
Yeah, what I liked about that play right there, Joe, is Leasai's footwork, right, for a quarterback that hasn't had any varsity reps with as good as Albee was here for the last couple of years. I think, the way that Leasai's to get out of the pocket and get that pitch off, knowing and be able to read the defender, the defensive end, that's something small a coach looks at.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll take that win.
The option is not an easy play to run, and he ran it. He executed it perfectly. Got rid of the ball at the right time. They're going to hand the ball right up the middle to James. James goes up the middle, gains about 5 yards. James has had a good little game today, probably 4 or 5 carries for 20, 25 yards, had a few tackles on defense.
He's a lead blocker on every one of those plays that we've called Connor and Bazin on. There's one guy that gets out in front of these guys every single time on those plays, and that's him. So
they've rewarded him with a few carries. They continue giving those goal line carries down to the fullbacks.
One of those kids that might not get his name in the paper, but you recognize him in practice on Monday.
Yep. Lining up here, 2nd and 5 for the Terriers. Looked like it was a little broken in the backfield there, but Connor still manages to get 3 or 4 yards out of it. Pushes it up to about 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 now for the Terriers. Again, moving the ball down the field here. Still got the first team offense out there for the most part.
Yeah, we figured, depending on how this went, a couple of series, you score a couple of touchdowns, you make a stop, and we talked about, at halftime. The running clock aspect kind of comes into play, but a couple of possessions, keep these guys working, a couple of touchdowns, you get this to 40, 42, 43.
Yep.
And then get these younger guys some work out there.
Yeah, get the kids in there, get them experience, let them see how to do things the right way. A little offsides there for the, I want to say the Yellow Jackets jumped offsides there. I don't know if they were drawn off by an offensive lineman from the Terriers, but certainly looked like
offsides. It's going to give them the first down.
Automatic first down for the Terriers. So
looks like maybe the first time tonight that Lockerbie's gone to the going on 2, mixing the count up a little bit when you had that 3rd and 1. And also another thing, when you run the ball as much as they do, your cadence is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Leasai's have been quarterbacking in this town for a long time, and he's learned a lot from his uncles and his dad, and I'm sure he runs that cadence probably pretty good for Coach Lockerby's team.
And you got to sell it, that's for sure. Leaside hands the ball off to Bazin. Bazin makes a little juke move, then goes up the middle, picks up about 3-4 yards for the Terriers. So we're going to have a 2nd and 5 yards or so coming up. Terriers looking to march in for their 5th score of the game here. Yellow Jackets are playing a little physical here in the second half. I mean, they haven't given up the long run yet. They've definitely come out ready to hit.
Yeah, these are the wins. You know, Coach Richardson's got to stay positive with what he's doing over there, because like I said, it's easy to get in a bad position as a coach, and I'm reminded often by my assistant coaches that your body language matters more than anybody else's.
Right. Absolutely. You don't think of that often as a coach. Sometimes you do got to be reminded. That's a handoff up the middle to Connors, it looks like. Yep, Connors gets in for the touchdown. I think that's his 3rd score of the night.
Yeah, Connors, Pat did a bulk of the work when Bazin was out for a little bit there in the first half.
Yeah. I think he had at least one long run for a touchdown, and then he got tackled about the 10 on the other one. So maybe he only has 2 touchdowns tonight, but. Now we'll try, looks like they're going to line up to try for 2 here with Leaside in the backfield. Doesn't look like they're running out the kicking block here.
Again, not a bad time to roll Leaside out of the pocket and get him a chance to try to throw the ball a little bit here.
Maybe reward Tostrup with a little catch, a little roll out to the tight end here. Oh, we are gonna throw the ball here, Nate. We're gonna get it out to that's Austin. That's number 8, Andrew Guyette.
Yep, Andrew Goyette again.
He was quick to that pylon.
Yeah, you take your opportunities, and this is one of the things I think that's hard with sports in high school now is, parents see the score and, why are you throwing the ball? And, look, like we said, the kids are still working. It's a long season, and you can't just say, hey, we're not going to throw it now because the score is 35-0. Well, it happens, and it's the way it goes sometimes, and again, it's a learning experience.
Absolutely, there's going to be a chance this year that Bells Falls is going to have a team that's stout up the middle, and they're going to have to rely on an occasional rollout pass or something along those lines.
Yep, that's an opportunity for Lockerby to see, Leaside's footwork in the backfield. How are the fakes on the off tackle? And
does he stay calm when he sets his feet and throws the ball, deliver a nice ball?
Yep, that was a good play call and good opportunity for Goyette, who, again, is a split end in this team. He goes out and blocks 99% of his life.
It's nice to get a reward.
Not a kid who gets his name in the paper, but does the dirty work.
Does his job. And the kickoff's received by the up man for the Yellow Jackets. This brings it up to about the 37-yard line.
Might be their best field position of the game so far, Joe.
I think so, Nate. We're still looking for that initial first down here. See, we still got looks like a bunch of the starting lineup still out there on defense here.
Yeah, we thought maybe a couple of possessions, but again, with the clock moving now, 35-0 in high school.
Oh yeah, so you're right.
That running time, makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
So, and depending on how Windsor wants to use the clock or not, as we know, the back judge will stick his hand up when there's 10 seconds left in the play clock. So, there's no rush for that Windsor to try to do anything, extravagant at this point.
Just try to make some plays here. Little quarterback sneak up the middle. I think they picked up about a yard or 2, so they're gonna. Well, I mean, this is a small victory. It's 2nd and less than 10. It's been hard sledding for them today.
The down and distance has been a real battle for Windsor since this thing started. with a couple of false start penalties and then fumbled handoffs in the backfield and just missed opportunity. But again, Connor Perry's got 7 tackles for loss for this team today. You can't.
And there's just been constant pressure in the backfield. 3, 4, 5 busted plays where they haven't even been able to get the handoff off. Little misdirection there. Picks up another yard or 2. So we got about 3rd and 7 here. So maybe we can get a little first down action for the Yellow Jackets as they're still looking for that initial first down.
The best down and distance, as we've talked about a bunch of times today, this is their best opportunity to move the ball forward.
They're up near midfield already with the starting field position they had. So this is definitely a moment where they could have something small to build off of here. Put a nice drive together, get a first down, 2 first downs maybe. At least pick up a 3rd down.
And like Bells Falls, they do lead their safety back a little closer, but you got one-on-one coverage out here. if you can get a second to get it out there.
And that's going to be brought down over there by 22.
Pat Connors.
Yeah. Oh, what a quick. He was quick. He closed on that quickly.
You're not getting the edge on these guys.
Because, boy, it looked to me like he had the corner there for a second, and then Connors just absolutely just blew that up. I think they're going to have to go for this one here. 4th down. What do you got to lose at this point? 4th and 7? Yeah, I do think they're... No, they got their punter back there.
Not a bad time to work on a fake, Joe.
Yeah. Just something different here. I thought they might be lining up to go for it there, so maybe there is something different. Nope, just another punt. Bazin back there. Lets it bounce. Picks it up off the bounce. And he's off the right side. Down to about the 50-yard line. Still going. Inside the 40. Still fighting for yards along that right side. He's down to about the 25-yard line. That's an impressive play.
Lockerbie's his hat's already off, Joe. He's frustrated. Another block in the back for the Terriers on a huge return by Bazin. And it was after the play. I mean, these are the
way behind the play.
Yeah, it's one of those. And it looks like someone's got a cramp.
I was watching Bazin fight for it there, so I missed. That might be Bazin over there. I can't quite tell.
Looks like we got a cramp over there. It's stretching.
That's about where he was where he got tackled. So that might be Jaden over there. I can't quite tell. The legal block on the back was on number 13 of the Terriers. Let's see if I can find that one. No, I don't got that one. It's number 13 with the illegal block in the back there for the Terriers. But you were right, Lockerbie was very frustrated with that immediately.
Yeah, Bazin was 15 yards past the play already. It was
unnecessary.
Those are the ones you just don't need.
And it's a huge return backwards,
Again, that's the second time Bazin's got 150 return yards called back today.
Right.
So,
and it looks like it was him cramping on the sideline. He's back over here a little slow.
Yes, seemed like that was maybe why he was out of the game. Got some info at halftime that maybe he was just a little dehydrated. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised if his helmet's off for the rest of the game. I don't foresee that there's any need to put him back out there.
Yeah.
Especially when we see that, we've seen Saul James taking some snaps over here on the sideline. So like we anticipated, probably the starters for, a couple of possessions and then get these young guys some work.
Yep, got another drive here. So maybe we're looking at a 4th quarter, or after this drive, we might be seeing the young kids.
I will say one of those things for Bob Lockerbie, he's always been one of those guys that never tries to run it up.
Big explosive run out of number 30 there for the Terriers. 30's Connor Perry again. Boy, he's fast. He explodes right off the ball, offensively, defensively. Great little player.
He is. We got another late flag on this side over here. If this is on the Terriers, I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Lockerbie's frustration must be boiling over because he wants it to be. This is on the Terriers.
He wants to play clean football. Looks like the Terriers are backing up.
And again, way away from the play. Not even involved in the play.
Personal foul. Lockerbie doesn't understand this one, so.
Yeah, this was another away from the ball kind of play. Perry had a great run up the middle. This flag came from the left-hand side over here by the side judge, and I'm not sure what he saw, but.
Just a little extra stuff that doesn't need to happen, I guess. I mean, it can get a little chippy. 37-0. They haven't played in a while. They're kind of rivalry up and down the river from years ago. It can get chippy out there, so maybe they're just trying to maintain a little bit and called something that wasn't necessarily something you would call every time.
Sure. Yep.
So we got a 1st and 10 for the Terriers, but we're all the way back here at about the 33-yard line. Leaside with James in the backfield right behind him. The handoff's going to come out here to Connors. Connors is trying to find the edge. Cuts it back up in the side.
Oh, what a block.
What a terrific block there by, was that 65? Was that, I think that's 65 right there. Yes, sir. That is 65 of the
Brockton Lovell.
Brockton Lovell with a tremendous block right there to spring Perry as he tried to cut back against the grain. Ends up picking about 15, 20 yards up there in a great play.
Yeah, Connors with the great little cutback, and it's just, again, he's got to be in that 150, 170 yard range at this point.
And this is where that conditioning comes in. I know they're up a lot, but this offensive line, I mean, here's Lovell out here on the outside making a big block as we head into the fourth quarter. Looks like Saul James is in at quarterback here for the Terriers with a minute to go here in the third quarter.
Yeah,
Gonna hand off to Stephen James. Stephen goes up the middle for 7-8 yards right up the middle.
Again, we get this running time, and this it just moves the game along. It feels like we just came out of halftime and we're getting ready to start the fourth quarter here. You got one more play, and James is going to come out now. Stephen James again. His name's not going to be on the headline of the paper tomorrow, but he's one of those guys.
And certainly, like you mentioned earlier, every time that Connors was sprung, it was Stephen James in front of him leading the way. So that's unsung hero stuff, but it has to happen. And quite frankly, in the history of the Terriers program, that fullback has played a huge role. So we got Saul James with 10 seconds to go here in the third quarter behind center. Hands it off to Connor Perry. I didn't have to look down at my sheet that time. I remembered number 30. That's a big victory.
I don't think we'll forget that name for the rest of the year.
No, I don't think so. Picks up the first down there and about a 10-yard carry. So now we're going to head into the fourth quarter here. 37-0 with the Terriers. Looking to close this game out. Now, it was a little sloppy there in that third quarter as far as the penalties. And Coach Lockerby's going to want to clean that up, especially as he lets his young kids out there. He's going to expect the young kids to perform just as much as he did the varsity kids. The expectations are the same. Doesn't matter what class you're in, what grade you're in, you're expected to perform at the same level.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. And wouldn't bat an eyelash at 6 penalties in a game, but for him, come Monday's film session that that these are going to need to be cleaned up. 2 of those being personal fouls. Or it's just, and again, coaches shouldn't tolerate it in general, but again, playing for Coach Lockerby and being around him as long as I have, that's just something that's going to certainly be addressed, and might have a couple young men for the Terriers making a couple extra laps on Monday.
Absolutely. I mean, there might even be a subtle hint in the locker room after the game today about those particular penalties, just to kind of drop an extra hint that they're not really acceptable here. Because certain games, it's going to be a little more important than others.
Yeah, looks like Windsor's got some subs coming in too, but I can hear a lot of passion coming from the sideline over there, and that's a great thing. That's a win for
Absolutely.
Coach Richardson in itself right now. That his varsity guys are over there clapping for the younger guys and staying engaged in the game and
competing.
Those are the wins you talk about on Monday.
And Briar Burnett there with a carry for the Terriers, picks up about 2 on the first down carry. Saul James still in at quarterback. So we're starting to see some of these young guys cycle in and out for the Terriers.
I got a lot of subs coming in. Kissel's back in the game.
So Kissel's pulling double duty on the cross-country team and the football team.
Yeah,
that's
good
impressive.
For him. Great. Again, just one of these younger guys at Bells Falls. Just a good kid, good athlete, and that works hard. And
so we got James behind quarterback here. Second down, 8 yards to go. Terriers looking to drive down, score another touchdown. James gets the pitch out to 22, Pat Connors. Connors takes it up. I want to say he's got the first down there, Nate. Looks like the line judge is giving him the first down. About the 22-yard line. So another tough carry for Pat Connors there. He's been very impressive out here today. Haven't called his name much on defense. 1 or 2 big tackles, but the defensive line's been so dominant that there hasn't been a lot of extra tackles. But been very impressive offensive running back.
Yeah. Yep. Again, just that all-around, leadership and the way that he handles himself out there is pretty impressive to watch. And I don't foresee that he'll be out there much longer either.
No, I would think so. James lines up behind center, taking the snap. Oh, looks like he's going to have a little keeper here out to the right side. Saul James going to the right side. He's down to about the 3-yard line, pushed out of bounds by the Yellow Jackets. Boy, he picked up about 20 yards on that carry.
Oh, great little bootleg action right there.
There's that staple of the Bellows Falls offense. It's amazing how many athletic quarterbacks they've had over the years here that can run that play.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree. Looks like most of the line. We got Lovell and Jocelyn and most of these guys coming out of the game let these younger guys get some work now, which is what you kind of expect in a game like this. That's 37-0, and but again, Coach Richardson's got some subs in there, and these guys will grind it out. And
James lines up behind center here. Looks like I think Pat Connors is the only starter in the backfield with him at this point. It's a hand up the middle to 33. That's
Briar Barnett.
That's Briar Barnett with a touchdown run up the middle. Yep, he got in, so it's going to be 43-0 now with 9 minutes to go on the running clock. Terry's going to come in, see what they're going to do here. If they're going to kick one.
Looks like Cam Perry, 72 back in the game.
He did. The first one he booted today went very good. The second one, I think it was short right. Great little drive there by Saul James, his first varsity action as a quarterback.
Great job.
So, like we talked about earlier, though, you look for those chances to bring in those kids where they can succeed. Oh, that's a boot. Well, 2 out of 3, he absolutely drilled today.
Yeah, just another weapon to have. That looks like that could be something you can try for a field goal at some point in the season too, if you need to. He's got a good leg on him.
Yep.
And snap was good, hold was good. I mean, that's one of the harder parts about kicking extra points in high school is it takes everything, right? You guys,
the timing, all of it.
Everyone's got to block. The snap's got to be good. The hold's got to be good, and that was a great leg by Perry.
But as you can see, Lockerby's keeping a few of his other guys in to go with his young guys. So he's really just trying to find places for the kids to succeed and build their confidence, because at some point they may be needed in a big game, where you need to make a play and they just need to step in. And like we've talked about so many times tonight, the expectations are going to be there that if they put in the game, they're to perform just like everybody else.
Yeah, the depth over here is pretty. Again, when you're able to just rotate guys in and out the entire game and one after another and making plays and know what they're doing, and that's a huge part, as being a coach, just having depth and players that are able to, do the things you need them to do when your starters aren't performing well. And, it's just again, kudos to the whole entire program over here. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they've come out, they looked really sharp, so they've had a nice preseason to get here. This is what you want to see when you come out here your first game. Line drive kick's going to get past number 10, going to find its way into the end zone for a touchback. That's the first touchback we've seen tonight, so nice little kick. So we got 7 minutes on the running clock, Nate, 44-0. So we got U32 next week. I don't know much about them. Historically, have they been a program that's been competitive? Or?
It's been interesting the last couple of years. They've been sort of a middle of the pack kind of team in Division 4, and to see them beat Woodstock last night. Talking to the athletic director from Woodstock this morning, just getting trying to get a little homework on that going into next week, Joe.
Yep.
U32's quarterback moves really well, throws the ball really well, gets out of the pocket well. So again, it's one of those teams that if they can throw the ball, that's been kind of the tough spot for the Terriers in the past few years.
Yep.
It's just that pass defense, but we'll have to see what U32's offensive line is going to be able to bring to the table, because if you can't have time to throw it, you can't throw it.
That's right. Complete broken play right there. Push the Yellow Jackets back about 5 yards. 55, Garrett Haskell was the first one in on the contact there. That was another one where the quarterback turned around and Haskell was already on him.
Yeah, it's again, you're bringing in, these are all, JV players and backups, and they're still doing the same thing.
But you know how it was when you were a JV player. When you got that opportunity, if you made enough plays, you might get another chance.
Yeah, it's what you're supposed to do.
So you want to show out when you get your opportunity, even in a blowout and a running clock. You're out there to make plays, and it's the other team's job to stop you from making those plays. Little handoff out to Legree there. Legree's he's had some tough yards today. They haven't gained a lot, but he's run hard out of that tailback spot for them, as well as Turtle Petschke has had a tough game back there, but they've hung in there and they've competed. Still
in there. We haven't seen a lot of guys leaving to go to the sideline, and I think that's one of the things that Coach Richardson's going to take home with them, is when all these kids take those shoulder pads and pants off and get on that bus. Everybody's walking to the bus, everybody's getting off the bus, and that's one of the things you got to look at coming out of a game that's 44-0 with 5 minutes to go. Everybody's healthy.
Yep, and you competed the right way. You're playing hard till the end. Big sack right there by 33. Yeah, so that's
Briar Barnett.
It's Briar Barnett, who's had a nice second half here with a touchdown, a couple of sack there, a tackle behind the line of scrimmage earlier.
Filled in for Bazin in that stretch in the first into the second quarter where Bazin was down a little bit.
Yep, nice little game out of him today, and some in fill-in role and some coming in now for the junior. Looks like he's going to get a little breather here. So we got a 4th down and 15 with 4 minutes to go. The Yellow Jackets are going to punt again. Looks like we got, is that 27
Carter
back there?
Harper, that 21?
21, 27. I don't have a 27, so I'm not 100% sure. Caden Harper. Yep. So over his head on the punt return. Yeah, I remember hearing their names back when I was watching some of the Pee Wee games. I want to say they were in the Packers for a couple of years.
Yep.
Both of my daughters cheerleaded in the league, so I've known some of these. I've heard some of these names announced over the loudspeaker over the years.
Yeah, so 3 minutes to go, Joe. Just an opportunity to run this thing down, and you get out of here with everybody healthy, and you move on to Monday's film and game plan, and get ready to go. I think one of the things that Lockerbie loves about this team is that once this film is probably up tomorrow, these guys will be watching it on their own and picking themselves apart.
Absolutely.
Which is the product of such a great program and kids that want to win. The culture is what it is over here, and it's again pretty fun to watch.
And with 3 minutes to go, Lockerbie is watching this like a hawk, because he wants these kids to still execute exactly how they're supposed to execute every time. That's a nice run there for number 4 of the Terriers. I just turned my light off.
Thomas Nowers.
That's a terrific run of about 25, 30 yards for him down the sidelines here. Brings the crowd to life.
Oh, we got a fumble at the end.
Oh, do we have a fumble at the end? So recovery goes we have the Yellow Jackets with the ball now?
Yeah, it looks like I saw the officials pointing the other way. We were looking for number 4 in our program here.
Didn't even see the fumble. Well, that's a great
run for that kid, though.
That's definitely a lesson learned there. You gotta have that ball all the way down to the end. You can't lose it on the way to the ground. But great run for the kid. Exciting. Good 25, 30 yards. All right, so the Windsor with the ball here. 1st and 10 on about the 32-yard line. Still trying to find a first down. There's Legree. He's going to lose another 2 yards. Well, they're still competing out there. Windsor with 2 minutes to go, 44-0. Still looking for something positive on the offensive side. Defensively, they've made some plays defensively where they have been able to slow down Bellows Falls a little bit. Bellows Falls has kind of had their way for the most part, but the second half they've slowed them down just a little bit here and there.
We've mentioned a lot of times this is fun to watch. Not a lot of people think this is fun to watch because they like to spread it out and throw the ball. And people come to watch. It's like, hey, how can you run the ball 60 times a game? Well, this is kind of what you're going to get.
Exactly. And when like we've talked about so many times tonight, when this is what you teach in the Pee Wee programs, this is what they're going to run up here. They run 3-back sets in the Pee Wee programs. They run a lot of the quarterback sweeps. This is something having played in the Pee Wee program myself, we ran all that stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And then in the past 15 years or so, building that, probably 10, 12 years building that junior high Purple Dogs program has been just another staple of how awesome football can be when you have kids that are invested and that want to play, and you're getting 20, 25 kids out for a junior high football team. That's pretty impressive.
Right. When you're drawing from maybe 100 kids.
Yeah.
At that middle school level, that's pretty wild. So Windsor running the ball here, trying to throw the ball down the sideline. They got an open receiver. Hey, number 9 with the catch there for the Yellow Jackets with 25 seconds to go. And there's that small victory, Nate. We just we see the first down, a positive pass play, but we also saw something there you talked about a little bit. That pass defense of the Terriers. Nine was running alone.
Yeah, yep. It's that single base coverage, and I know at this point you're, thinking they're probably just going to run it, but and that looks like that'll do it. No, they're
going to try to run the one more play. He's going to roll out and chuck another one. Oh, that's going to be knocked down out there by the Terriers. I want to say number 18.
Good play.
Yeah, terrific play at the end. All right, Nate. So we just that's going to bring us to an end here. As the Bellows Falls Terriers over the Windsor Yellow Jackets, 44-0. Nate, thanks for joining me tonight. I'm looking forward to next week. Any final thoughts on tonight's matchup?
Yeah, Joe, it's just like we talked about in the pregame. You know, just the Terriers' ability up front with the size of those guys, and you know, again, you got to see what Connor Perry did tonight, even out of the backfield. Like, you know, it's not just Bazin and Connors. You know, Leeside's footwork looked good. Terriers looked pretty good. Pretty well-oiled machine for 4 quarters of football this early in the season.
Yeah, came out looking sharp. A lot of excitement. Certainly going to lead to a lot more expectations as we move forward here in the Division III season. But great start for the Terriers.
Absolutely, and you know, good luck to the Yellow Jackets. You know, this will probably be the hardest game they play all season.
Probably.
So, you know, but to get back to work, and like I said, we don't see anybody on the blue tent over there. Everybody's walking, shaking hands,
Yep.
and that's, you know, again, a win for Coach Richardson, and good luck to them for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Well, for Fall Area Community Television's presentation of Bellows Falls Terriers football tonight, I'm Joe Brooks, thanking Nate Haskell for joining me. We'll catch you next Friday night, 7 p.m. here at Hadley Field for U32 versus the Terriers. Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Joe.